All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. It was a very long, exhausting weekend for me. I had some family from out of town, Christmas trees, events, all sorts of stuff. So it was a good weekend, but I am very tired. Needless to say, it's Monday now, and there is a lot to talk about. So aside from what we're going to cover in our live stream later tonight, this just broke Sunday night that Hunter Biden, well, let's set the backstage first here. So we all remember Hunter Biden. This was the topic you could not talk about 4 or 5 years ago, when there was a lot of information that was being labeled disinformation, misinformation, if you will, regarding a certain laptop and a certain president's son who had a proclivity for women and illicit material and allegedly certain things that were very illegal. I mean, you can talk about like age of consent and who did what to who, but there's a lot of questions that are never going to be answered because this is a very important person in a position of privilege, let's say. And so, of course, this information all got swept under the rug by Facebook, by their social media sites. News anchors wouldn't talk about it. Reporters wouldn't ask questions about it. It was essentially, oh no, this is a Russian conspiracy. Don't talk about it. So this article from Politico says, this is from 4 years ago, said, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo, dozens of former intelligence officials say. Fast forward to 4 years later. And then you have the New York Post back in February of this year saying, after years of denials, Hunter Biden finally acknowledged that Joe was the big guy in the $5 million China deal. So it wasn't just that Hunter Biden was doing some illegal stuff. It was that Joe himself, the president of the United States, at the time the vice president, was using his connections to filter money into an account that he and his son shared. And again, the rest is history. I'm sure we don't need to rehash all the details. Well, let's fast forward 9 months later to today. Here we have breaking news that Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter for any federal crime that he committed in the last decade. Now, I think the significance to this, and there are people who are going to feel one way or the other, apologize for the fact that, well, it's his son, so if anybody would pardon their son. Let's be honest. And I'm like, I beg to differ. There are people who are like, depending on what the crime was, maybe we'll talk about it. But needless to say, we have the statement from the President Joe Biden right here, and it's kind of taken apart into fewer pieces that are easier to read. First part says, today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word even as I watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Now, full stop a second. This is something that we have seen where the DOJ has been weaponized against Trump, against conservatives, right-wingers. Social media sites have targeted them. Even different, corporations, different financial institutions have targeted and blacklisted right-wingers, taken away their ability to run credit cards and everything else. So this is absolutely asinine for him to come out in his first paragraph and say that Hunter has been unfairly prosecuted. But we'll go on. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they file or filled out a gun form. I don't know about that. I don't have statistics in front of me. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. Well, treated differently, my ass. The man hasn't been convicted of anything yet. The charges in his case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. See, he's playing the victim here. He's pulling the Trump card where Trump literally was, targeted and harassed and vilified by pretty much every institution imaginable. But he's trying to say, oh no, it was my son Hunter that was really the victim of this persecution. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Justice Department unraveled in the courtroom with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he's my son, and that is wrong. That's wrong, you hear. There's been no effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me, and there's no reason to believe it'll stop here. Enough is enough. Dude, your brain's broken already. Nobody's trying to break you any more than you already are. For my entire career, I have followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. Holy crap. Okay. Okay, they'll be fair-minded. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. Well, I think people are torn on the father side of it. It's kind of 50-50 from what I'm seeing online. Razorfist pointing out that Joe Biden pardoning his son is really just Joe Biden pardoning Joe Biden. Full 100% correct. Like, that right there is so true, because once again, Joe Biden himself was implicated in a lot of Hunter's business dealings and his connections to other people. Keith Olbermann, of course, having a usual meltdown, saying, pardon Hunter, great. Now pardon everybody else. Every prosecutor, every Biden administration staffer, every media figure, everybody Trump will persecute. 10 million pardons at least. Now, here's my question. If you can go after somebody legally and persecute them like they did with Trump on trumped-up charges, no pun intended, things that are not even valid, and then you can use the Department of Justice and the legal system to weaponize against them, and then Trump gets pardoned essentially, and they're throwing out his cases left and right. It's pretty much a slam dunk at this point that he's going to walk away scot-free. Then why would these guys need to be prosecuted? Why would these guys be persecuted if they hadn't done anything illegal either? If you're saying that Trump deserved to be persecuted and prosecuted for the things that he had done, all 34 felony counts, right? But these people are perfectly innocent? I'm sorry, that just doesn't add up, right? So then, of course, you have Joe Biden back in May of 31st of May here saying no one is above the law. And of course, now it's got a community note saying Joe Biden granted a full unconditional pardon to his son Hunter on December 1st, 2024. Hunter was convicted of multiple felonies, but now will go unpunished. So again, already getting hit with the community note. And then, of course, this blast from the past here from July 27th of 2023. Karine Jean-Pierre, his former White House press secretary.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there?
I just.
So once again, saying no way possible he'll pardon his son. Well, yeah, time will tell a different story. You see Colin Rugg here posting on Twitter this interview with Joe Walsh on MSNBC. Joe Walsh, somebody who I believe also suffers from TDS.
What do you make of all of this? What is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
Good to be with you. See, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this. The politicization of the justice system, Donald Trump and his people have been screaming.
Well,
and of course, they go and make excuses for him, essentially saying, well, Hunter's been dealing with all this personal trauma, so don't you think that this is kind of a fair situation for the president to pardon him? And I think it's a bunch of crap. Personally, because of the fact that it's not just a drug addiction, it's not just one weapons charge, there are allegations of weird conduct with people below age of consent. And again, I don't know how much proof there is, and that's why I said it's just allegations. This whole Hunter Biden thing is much more disgusting and more degenerate than just simply, a couple of, charges that really shouldn't matter. We can just toss those out, no big deal. But again, Mary King says, I would not have pardoned my son. I believe in accountability and doing the right thing, especially in the face of an entire nation. Hunter drives 165 miles per hour while smoking crack, F's prostitutes, and has zero regard for others because he never faced a consequence in his entire life. Had he faced consequences at a young age, I wouldn't even be typing this right now. He who has ears. And I think that this kind of solidifies where I stand on the situation, because let's face it, this is a guy who is the way he is because of the life that he lived. I don't know if it's a byproduct of his father not being around enough or being around too much, or, his mom dying at an early age. I don't know. But the reality is, this dude should not have been pardoned. We all knew that Joe was probably going to. He lied about it repeatedly, and here we are. And unfortunately, going forward, anything Hunter did for the last 10 years, which is directly connected to Joe, nobody's getting prosecuted for. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Share your thoughts, and again, we'll be doing the live stream on Monday night. breaking down all this craziness with Destiny and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So hope to see you guys there on my live channel. Until the next time. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBOW at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.